Hello, my friends, and welcome to tonight's fourth and final prequel episode of the Chronicles, here on Tabletop Rolls. This is our new D&D 5e campaign, that the first session, our session 0.5, is going to be premiering on the 19th, so that's next week, at 7 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. CST, 10 p.m. EST if I know time zones. I think I know time zones.
What time did you say EST?
10.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
I'm good. Okay, I'm smart. I can brain, which is good. But a few announcements before we begin. Number one, don't forget to follow if you're just joining us here on Twitch. If you haven't already followed, join our Discord. That mods will be posting a link in the chat throughout the night. And of course, don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out there. Number two, don't forget to check out the League of Amazing Adventurers, our Pathfinder 2e show. If you like tabletop RPGs, professional actors role-playing, and steampunky pulp adventure, that's the game for you. It's on the same time slot at 9 p.m. CST, 7 p.m. PST on Wednesday nights. But tonight, we are joined, of course, by my friend Chad. Say hi.
Hello.
For the fourth prologue, where we'll get to meet their character. So once again, this is the fourth and final prologue session of our D&D 5e campaign, the Chronicle. Next week, you can join us for the official start of it. And next week also, we're going to be posting each of the prologue sessions on YouTube, one a day up until Friday, when we have the first 0.5 session. But enough of the news. Let's get into the game. As the first travelers finished their calling, they reflected on their many adventures. So the gods spoke to them once more. Write the stories of your travel down and offer them to us so we may read them. With the final task of their calling finally being given to them, the travelers made their offering and completed their journey. The world of Maltdarin is a vast and spacious world, and even though its people are constantly exploring it, new discoveries come every day, and locations thought to be fully explored always hide secrets yet to be found. This story begins in the Sea and Sky Archipelago, a collection of small islands, and Sky Islands a week's journey away from the south of the Half-Light Ebb. The people of the Sea and Sky Archipelago host a race every year at the start of spring. Ships from across Maltdarin come to race through the archipelago in hopes of being the first to make it to the island of Rosewing, the largest island of the archipelago and home of the Spring Wardens, one of the holy knightly orders of Maltdarin. As we move through the sleepy streets of the island and into the orderly hallways of the Spring Wardens garrison, a door opens as Zolom begins his day. Chad, why don't you describe your character as they move out into the hallway?
Okay, so the one big obvious thing is Zolom is a naga. So yellow-green scales covering his entire form. When, quote-unquote, standing upright, kind of average height, but then a good trail of another 12, 15 feet behind him. Broad, strong, and around his face, the brow, upper cheeks, and across the eyes, the scales are damaged, scarred over. And yeah, that's pretty much most of them.
Perfect. I'll delete the token from our map now. Boom. You are on your way to meet with your mentor and teacher, Ionis, the knight commander of this garrison. As you make your way through the halls, you kind of feel a pat on your back. Excuse me. I'm sorry, new recruits in the garrison. Do you know where the Requiem Hall is?
I imagine I would know where this is.
Yes, you would.
Would that be kind of on the way where, if I was headed towards where
Yeah,
Ionis
it
is
could be,
likely to be? Okay. Then, yeah. Not turning or anything, just continuing to move forward. And so, follow me.
Oh, thank you very much. They're kind of like walking with you through the halls, and as they are doing so, eventually you'll make it to their destination. Thank you very much for the directions. I highly appreciate it.
If you don't mind the question, what did you need here?
This is where I'm supposed to begin my daily training. I'm
Good
in late to
luck. Do you
become...
know? Do you know who's to train you?
Not yet. They've kept my mentor secret to me. I'm training to become a cleric.
Well, I might not know who that would be then. Good luck.
Thank you very much. You as well. I hear today is an important day for the knights.
Is this something I'm aware of?
Yes. Today is the day of basically the final trial for many of the knight aspirants.
Okay.
It is also the day of your final trial for your knight aspirant to be basically inducted into the order.
Gotcha.
Eventually.
Thank you. With any
go ahead.
With any luck, my training will be over and I can get to the real work.
May silence watch over you. And he kind of like does a bow and enters the room.
And just kind of nods his head, but still not turning really towards him. Just pretty much spoke the entire time with his side to him, and then continues on the way.
Oh, well, eventually you will make it to Ionis' office, which is located in a spot that you've been told overlooks the central training yard and chapel of the garrison. 2 knights in training stand outside the door to the office, and as you approach, they open it so that you may enter. When you make your way into the room, you hear Ionis, an elderly sea elf, as they shift their weight and remove something from their worn half-plate armor, speaking to someone as they face away from you, most likely looking out the window. Ah, Zolom. I hope you've slept well. Please, join us. I am just going over the itinerary for the trials of induction today with an old traveling companion from my calling who will be observing them. You hear a gentle and refined voice begin to speak. Hello there. My name is Zalatesh. It's good to meet you. My old companion speaks highly of you. I look forward to seeing your abilities today.
So, Zolom, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. We don't usually have an audience from outside.
Zalatesh kind of chuckles. Yes, well, I have left a item with my friend here that I came to retrieve today. And seeing as I'm here, he offered to watch the new recruits basically gain entrance into the order. Apparently, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them.
Yes, we'll see if all the training has paid off today.
I look forward to seeing your performance. Like I said, Ionis speaks highly of you.
He's kind. I'm only here for him anyway.
Ionis chuckles at that. It seems the preparations for the trials are completed. We should make our way to the training yard. He'll kind of like usher you towards the door of his office.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and turn and more or less lead the way.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as you make your way to the training yard, Ionis follows your lead. And eventually, once you are in the yard proper, he basically leads Zalatesh to a chair near the edge of the yard. He'll look over to you now and say, "You will be the last one to face your trial today. For now, enjoy the heat of the sun and Zalatesh's company." Kind of smiles. You begin to
As
hear...
you wish.
You hear Ionis begin to walk away from you and towards the center of the yard. They raise their voice and begin to address the crowd, a speech that you've heard every year that goes into how it's important that knight aspirants face off with their mentors to prove that they have learned everything they can, and it's quite the long-winded and long drawn-out speech. As he begins to talk, Zalatesh kind of like chuckles to himself. How many times have you listened to this speech? I myself am on the 4th run of it.
Heard it a few times before myself.
You know, he certainly loves to talk about these things.
Well, the newer recruits eat it up every time.
And the ones who have been here for a while know that it is simply an old man indulging his nostalgia.
Well, if it was someone who couldn't back it up, maybe.
I agree with you on that one. He kind of smiles. Eventually, the speech ends, and Ionis bids the trials beginning. You hear pairs of voices speaking an oath out loud to Aklon, the patron god of the Spring Wardens, and then you hear the sounds of combat. You're familiar with this ritual. After speaking an oath on a sapphire orb filled with water and spring flowers, the knight hopeful and their mentor face off in single combat. Each is expected to fight with everything they have, and depending on the performance of the student in the fight, they are assigned a rank in the order. A few hours will pass by. There's about 10 fights that go on, and between each of the fights, this short sort of like, here's what you could have done to fight better, here is your ranking, and like a short ceremony. Eventually, Ionis kind of returns to you. Your trial awaits. Shall we?
This is what we're here for, after all.
Well, soon you'll be able to do the work that you wish to be doing.
With some favor.
You've earned that favor. I look forward to this match. It'll be a test of your abilities and how far they've come.
It'll be a test to see if I've absorbed everything you've had to pass.
And if you haven't, I can always try to beat it back into you during this trial.
I'm sure you will.
He kind of like begins to lead you towards the orb.
Okay.
Well, now, the final hopeful begins their trial. Now, for this fight, they'll be facing off with myself. And like the crowd kind of like lets out a cheer and a number of basically very encouraging and supportive basically yells at you as you make your way up there. But first, the oath. Kind of will say, if you would, please, Knight Aspirant Zolom, place your hand on Auckland's orb.
And does so without hesitation.
And yeah, as you place your hand on the orb, the sounds of rushing water overtakes you. And suddenly, the feeling of the ground beneath you is gone. It's like you're floating under warm ocean waters. You feel a presence place their hand on you. It's easily recognizable as Oklon, the patron goddess of your order. And then suddenly you feel a texture similar to your own scales, wrapping around your body and pulling you away from the warm ocean waters into something more cold and deep. My child, who serves their sister. The bonds that hold my prison grow weak, and others here have sensed it. You feel a claw digging into the side of your neck, making some shape. Your calling begins in Peelhearth. Seek out your sealed sisters and learn from them. And may you find good allies on your path, child of... And then you feel the heat of the sun on your head once again.
Probably like holding the spot on his neck, trying to tell if there's any difference to the by touch.
As you are touching, you can actually feel a shape that has been like scratched into your neck.
Okay.
However, for the audience, it will appear as a sort of arcane mark. This is what it looks like, and this is what it feels like. Time to draw a circle. Roop. And then it's like... Roop. Roop. And then shoop. Shoop. And shoop. And that is the marking you feel on the side of your neck. Oh, the audience won't be able to see it there. Let's put it somewhere where they can get a little bit better view of it. Right there will work.
All right.
After that sort of moment, Ionis will kind of speak up. It appears as though your trial will have to wait.
Could always do this first.
Unfortunately, the order forbids it. Those who are on their calling must finish their journey before they can return to us.
Well, I guess the work starts before knighthood then.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are one of us. And he kind of will put a hand onto your shoulder. It's at that moment you'll kind of hear Zalatesh making their way beside you. Where are you headed to? And if it's Peelhearth, there's a cat that owes me some gold.
It is Peelhearth, as it happens.
Oh, that! That is rich. That works out so very interestingly. And he's kind of chuckling to himself. And then suddenly, you will hear a roar. And the sun is briefly covered before you can hear a creature landing with a thud in the training yard. And we're going to move over to that now. I should probably move you over there as well. Boom. Zoom out to get the full map in there. There we go. Perfect. That looks pretty good. Perfect. So, let me tell you what you kind of sense around you. Zalatesh is directly behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself are still standing beside the orb.
Yeah.
As you basically get that feeling, you will hear a voice say, "It appears as though I am not as early as I'd hoped to be. I would hope that some of you had yet to do your trials. Oh well." And he'll kind of look, you won't be able to see him looking in this direction, but the voice will become pointed towards you. But at least I will get to rip a morsel from the hands of the gods today. He kind of chuckles. Ionis yells out, "Everyone, I know we're tired to battle stations. The called hunt has returned." And as he charges towards the creature, he will disappear from your view. You will hear basically a thudding sound, which you can imagine is perhaps this creature's tail smacking up against him, and then you will feel a whoosh of air beside you as he goes flying into this planter. And then we roll initiative.
I think I'm going to have to drag my own token out.
Oh, alrighty. I'll delete it.
Yeah.
And we'll pop Zalatesh into initiative, character sheet.
That's a great way to start.
Is that a natural one to start?
Love it. I love it.
I see you have.
Yes.
I see you have your usual luck. All right, and I should
Gonna get wild.
Get this creature for the audience's benefit. Did I do what I think I did? I did. I put it onto the map background. Oh, look at that! McKenna just gave you a reroll. Would you like to use that on your initiative?
Sure. Let's go for it.
All right, I'm going to re-roll the hunter's initiative.
Oh.
Okay, so for the audience's benefit, this is what the creature looks like, with a slight modification. So on the basically thorax and the middle section of this creature, folded down now are wings that create a sort of plating, and towards the head area is a humanoid torso that is standing up. That is basically like sitting up as if it's part of the scorpion-like creature. Think a scorpion centaur.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
And then on initiative count 10, we will have the garrison actions. Garrison actions. 10. Boom. And descending. Alright, so first up is the hunter. It's going to use its move action to come right up towards you.
Now I get to tell how beautiful it looks.
Yeah, now you can. And then it is going to attempt to basically take a swipe at you with its claw. 22 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
For 3 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And then that is their turn. Next up, it will be Zalatesh, who will notice you taking that hit, and he is going to cast a spell on you at first level. He's going to give you heroism. So you're going to have 4 temporary hit points.
Nice.
And then he is going to say, "But I will say this, I am not much of a fighter, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's going to move over to there. Next up, the garrison action will happen. The tired and exhausted knights and their mentorees and the knight hopefuls will kind of all begin scrambling to battle stations. Unfortunately, because they are just getting started, there's no garrison action for this turn for you. It is your turn.
All right, well, it's right in front of me, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try and get in on its legs and constrict it.
A 15 will hit. For 10 damage?
Yep, 10 bludgeoning damage.
All right. Then in that case, it is restrained?
Yeah, it's grappled / restrained from the constrict.
All right. So I imagine you kind of like wrap yourself around this creature.
Yeah, I'm getting in its legs.
Nice, like a sort of snake knot.
Yeah.
All right, then. It'll be its turn. It is going not to bother attempting a dex check. It's going to use its stinger now to take a stab at you.
Okay.
21 to hit.
It does hit.
For 7 piercing damage.
Oh. Thankfully, I had those temporary hit points.
Yep. And then it's going to attempt to escape with a dex check. 19.
It does escape.
Okay. So it will kind of like... And as it kind of like gets around and out of your grapple and your constriction, it takes basically like to your back. It stabs its tail into you. And then we will go to Zalatesh, who will say, "Oh, well, it's right there. Just try. It's right over there. I know you can do it." And he's going to healing word you for 4 healing. Zalatesh is going to keep you topped up as much as he can.
Oh, that's appreciated.
Next up, the garrison actions will happen. A number of soldiers will get into melee range with this thing, giving you advantage on your attacks next round.
Oh, fantastic.
All right.
And if I'm reading this right, I get the temporary hit points back at the start of my turn?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So I have advantage on my attack.
Yes, you do.
We're going to go with the constrict again.
Go for it. I really enjoy natural weapon paladin. This is a good fight. 18 will hit for 7 points of damage. Nice. As you constrict, are you going for the legs again, or are you trying something else out?
This time I'm kind of on the back end, trying to get around to the back end of his legs to also try and restrict that tail.
Nice.
That's what I got stabbed with.
As you're like doing so, the tail like begins to like turn on its own joint. And then the stinger that stabbed you with opens up and it reveals like this sort of like maw.
Oh, that's pleasant.
It just like hisses at you. And then we'll go to its turn.
It's got a predator tail?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's going to try to use it to sting you again.
Okay.
I'm rolling really well.
You know, Will, I'm level 1 with an 18 armor class and it's not doing anything for me.
I gave this thing a +4 to hit only. I'm just rolling ridiculously well.
That sounds about right.
5 piercing damage, and I will now need you to make me a fortitude saving throw.
A con save?
Yes, a con save. Sorry, Pathfinder mode.
Is it for poison?
It is not for poison.
Okay.
That's a success.
Oh,
you
that
don't
shouldn't have been an advantage.
have any of your blood bled out of you with a 16.
No, that's great.
Then we will attempt to escape. 14.
Yep, he just hit it.
Yeah, he pops out of there once again while kind of distracting you with his tail. And then I think it's a move action to escape, so it doesn't actually get to move, so it'll stay where it is. And then we will jump over to Zalatesh, who will kind of say, are you hitting things with brute strength or dexterity?
Strength.
Ah. And then he'll think on it for a second and realize that this would stop heroism from being a thing. So he'll say, never mind. Here, just, here. And he'll kind of like clumsily begin pulling out a crossbow and loading it. And then it will go to the garrison actions. At this point, the soldiers on the top area have gotten to the ballista and they fire them at the creature. Can you roll me a d8?
Yes, okay.
Great. The layer does 5 damage to it.
Nice.
As one of the ballista bolts goes into this thing's like back dermal plating. Oh, and you also got another hero point.
Oh, nice.
And then
that's awesome.
It will be your turn.
All right. Well, we're gonna up and just see how things go. If it's gonna get gross with its tail mouth. I'm gonna bite it.
Go for it. 19 hits.
And a con save for the 3 poison.
10 will fail.
It takes the 3 poison then.
8 points in total. Nice job. It's looking like it's at about half health now. It's becoming more sluggish in its movements. But we will now go to its turn. You did not grapple it again, so what it's going to do is it's going to move to here. Just to kind of change up its location on you a bit. And then it's going to attempt to sting you again. 21.
Yeah, that'll hit.
For 3.
It didn't burn through the temporary hit points this time.
But I need a fortitude save. A constitution saving throw. That'll be the part of the drinking game for the D&D game. Anytime I use a Pathfinder turn for a D&D save. Yeah. A 11.
I'm going to reroll that one.
All right.
That last one. That sounds about right.
All right, so.
That tracks.
You have taken a grievous wound.
Okay.
It's begun sucking your blood. You're going to take an additional D8 of damage. I'm just going to roll that here.
Okay.
You're going to take an additional 2 points of damage, and your maximum hit points are reduced by that much. It's going to heal back. Alrighty. How are you looking as it comes to Zalatesh's turn?
I mean, I'm still more than half.
Right,
cool. I'm fairly healthy.
He's just going to say, blast this bloody thing. You know what, you scorpion ice type of creature. Your top is terribly unfashionable. And he'll attempt a vicious mockery at. He'll succeed. And then we will go to the garrison action. On the garrison action, a number of basically the paladins will come out, and they kind of do a chant, healing you for 1 hit point.
Yeah. Hit point's a hit point.
Hit point's a hit point, and then we'll go back to you.
All right. Goes back. Zolom is momentarily confused. Did he just insulted?
Yes.
And I'm going back to the constricting because I don't want him to continue with that tail.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna. Did it roll? Oh, it did. But I rolled the same thing both times. So
hey, the 18 will do it for 5 points of damage. All right. And we'll go to his turn. How are you going? How do you have him constricted this time?
I'm really focusing on that tail not getting back to me.
All right, then. They're going to try to get out of it.
Just hit it.
And luckily, their tail is, well, unluckily for you, their tail is maneuverable enough to kind of like out-snake you. And then it's
I find that insulting
to take a
and
sting.
offensive.
22.
Yeah.
For 6.
Yeah, this could be bad.
And a fortitude save. You're fine. You're
Had
good.
to happen sometime.
You're good. It had to happen. Are you looking hurt?
I honestly, I'm looking about this almost the same as I was the last time he looked.
Fair enough then. He will continue to mock the Scorpion Man. For another 2 points of damage, possibly. It will succeed, so they won't take anything. And then we will go to the garrison actions. The soldiers move about the garrison. There is no garrison action on this round. And then we go to you.
All right. Yeah, we're just gonna keep on with the constricting. Ooh. But had to get a bad roll.
Yeah, you just got a crit. Natural 1 right after makes sense.
Yep.
All right,
yep.
do you want to move at all?
Even those out. Where is he? Oh, I could have done that. That would have been good. No, I don't think that's gonna help me.
All right. Then it is going to go, and it is going to take a stab at you with its stinger.
Finally.
Oh, there we go. It missed.
Yep.
Dang, that would have been good
Had
damage.
to happen sometime.
That would have been good damage, too. And then it is going to step to there. And we'll go to Zalatesh, who will see this thing getting
Would
closer.
I get an attack of opportunity on that one?
It stepped. Oh, right. D&D. It will not move. It will not move away from you.
One of those different system things.
It will not move away from you. Zalatesh, on the other hand of their turn, is going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And he'll get to there. That thing's getting a bit close for his liking. And then we go to the garrison action. Another wave of soldiers kind of rush in to try to like stab at this thing and take it out. However, the scorpion will bat them away, but it will give you advantage on your attack this round.
All right. Well, we're just going to go keep on with the constrict.
13 will miss, I'm afraid.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like McKenna gave another one, so I'm going to roll one more time on that.
Go for it. A 17 will do it. For 5 points. Alrighty. Next up is its turn. It's going to take a stab at you with its stinger. 11 points of piercing damage.
I'm out.
You're out?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We're going to wild right away.
It's Zalatesh's turn. He sees you go down. He's like, no! I need you up for this! And healing words you for 5 hit points.
It was the exact amount of damage. I had 7 HP and 4 temporary HP.
Garrison will go. They'll do the firing the ballistas this round. They roll a d8. Four points. But at least here's a benefit of the paladin you are. You don't need to pick up weapons.
Yeah, this is true. I can just get up and go after him. And that sounds about right.
And I believe you meant get up and go at her.
Of course you did.
I had to. Ooh, an 8 will miss, though.
Yep.
Alrighty. This thing's going to go, and it's just going to try to take one more sting at you. 20?
It does hit.
For 3?
Yeah.
Fortitude save. Constitution saving throw.
Save. Another natural 20.
And you're good.
We're going wild. Day 1.
Zalatesh is going to keep topping you off, or trying to top you off, for 7 more healing.
That works.
And then you will hear the paladins chant and get some more healing from them for another 5.
Okay.
And then it's your turn.
You're just going to keep after him.
An 18 will do it for 8 points. Oh, if only you could see their hit points. It's still standing.
Of course.
Alrighty. Next up.
I feel like me and this thing are just like battering at each other.
Oh.
And both looking
And it looks
rough.
like it's desperate now. It's going to try to take another sting attack on you. 10 points.
Okay.
You still up?
I'm still up.
Fortitude save. Constitution saving throw. 20 will succeed.
Okay.
Zalatesh is like, I only have 1 more of these in me. He'll heal you up for another 6. Garrison actions. The soldiers reposition themselves and move around. It's your turn.
All right. Ooh, how's a 14?
Just hits.
Just hits.
for 5 points of bludgeoning damage?
Yeah.
Well, that will deal with its 1 hit point it had left.
It's all right. After its last natural 20, I was down to 1 hit point as well.
So yes, as the fight comes down to the wire, you manage to fell this creature. You manage to fell this, like, foul creature.
I'm, like, not letting go of it for maybe an abnormally long time.
Yeah, like, the human abdomen on it, the human, like, torso on it just kind of, like, slumps over eventually. And, like, that stinger, like, the stinger mouths, like, open up and it just is, like, sprawled on the ground.
I don't let go until I feel or hear at least a little bit of crunch, and then I'll let go.
Well, you will hear a visible crunch as Ionis comes and just de-heads this thing.
Oh, that works. That'll do it.
I apologize for that. My student was not expecting that tail to send me flying as much as it did.
It was more problematic than I'm sure it looked.
It was truly problematic. He'll kind of begin yelling at all the other people around. Are we really in such sorry support that we almost saw one of our own fall today? Double drills for the rest of the week. And, like, you hear, like, a bunch of yes sirs, and they start running off. Zalatesh at that moment kind of approaches you. It's like, all things considered, you do handle yourself in a fight quite well.
Not sure if I would have rathered that fight or the one with Ionis.
Ionis just kind of looks at you. You wouldn't be standing if we fought.
I was barely standing now.
But now that the interruption is dealt with, I believe we have business to continue with. You have a calling to begin.
Being reminded of that kind of feels the mark again.
Zalatesh kind of like walks up to you and says, every single person who started their calling around me recently as something attack them, I'm beginning to think I am bad luck.
So do you think I'll get attacked less now that I'll be leaving?
Ionis kind of speaks up and says, well, that is hopefully what will happen, but as you know, the Called Hunt has been more active recently in their mission to deny the gods their worship.
I don't mind disappointing them.
That's the spirit. Kind of like pats you on the shoulder. Wait here for but a moment. I'll have one of the pages fetch your things, and I have a little bit of a gift for you.
While they're doing that, it's kind of running over some of the spots where he got stabbed. Use the lay on hands to top me up.
Fair enough. How was you getting topped up by?
Since with my lowered HP max right now, I healed 3 with my lay on hands.
Perfect. And then as you are doing so, Zalatesh will speak up again. So you're headed to Peelhoth?
That's what the voice said.
Oh. Well, as it happens, that is my next port of call. If you'd like, I'd be happy to hire you on as a guard. Clearly you can handle yourself.
Somehow it doesn't feel like a coincidence that you were here to just pick something up.
He kind of like looks up to the sky. Gods work in mysterious ways, my friend.
I suppose they do.
We have quite the eclectic crew shaping up. I'm sure you'll get on with them splendidly. It's at that moment that Ionis kind of returns. Well, have a little bit of a parting gift from you. And as he says that, Zalatish says, you still have that old relic. And Ionis replies, yes, it's been quite handy. And I was going to give it to I was going to give this to you as a graduation gift, as a bit of a welcome to the order, but you will have more use of it now than if you would have remained in the order. He kind of will hand you a pot. This is a cauldron of cooking, which I'm now going to put into your thing so you can see what it does. You can't edit it. Long story short, this self-heating pot has the ability to provide a hearty meal for up to 6 creatures once a day, each day. After it has done this sort of stew that it cooks, is just a self-heating pot that you can use to cook or boil water in to make tea, whatever you decide.
Oh. Very practical for sudden travel.
Yes, there's a lot of practical sudden travel inventions in this world, as it's kind of, well, one of the keystones of it. Ionis kind of stays there for a moment in silence, and then he'll say, Zolom, I hope you travel well. Know that when you return, I will be waiting to grant you entry into the order proper.
It's no secret that me being here was part of the larger plans for me. But just because I'm leaving now and may address those, I still owe a great deal to you, and I will be back to join.
He kind of smiles and he says, do with yourself what you wish to. He'll kind of chuckle for a moment. You know, tonight you avenged a friend.
Started to.
May she watch over you in silence. Oh, and as it occurs to me, if you do come across any other the members of the orders, do say hello. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as they will be, and he'll now also pull out this like small sort of writ from his pocket and hand it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You are a official member of the order who is on their calling. See if you can help out around. He smiles.
That's part of the work, but, usually you're a little more of a stickler for rules.
Well, sometimes rules can be bent when the people they are being bent for are deserving of it. And if that last battle showed us anything, you are deserving of it.
I'll make sure it's put to good use.
He'll do like a sort of salute to you.
I return it.
Say, well then. Zalatish, I trust that you can help him make traveling arrangements. It's like, well, as it so happens, we're headed to a similar port of calling. So, yes. And he'll kind of smile and said, be on your way. And a couple of like young people come running out, carrying like a single like suitcase sort of thing, like a bag. Like a bag. And yeah, it's the cleric that was basically shown to the room of reliquary. He says, Best of luck to you. May you travel well.
Oh.
And he kind of holds hands you the bag.
I'll take it, kind of sling it over, and I'm sure your training won't be quite as eventful.
I hope it is.
Just nod and turn to go with Zalatish.
Zalatish will begin to kind of like lead you down towards the docks and the vessel that he has chartered. So, you'll have your own room, of course. I have gotten enough for that. Meals are served together or by yourself, whichever you prefer. Oh, I hope you don't get seasick.
You know where I'm from.
Fair point. And he'll continue walking down the road. As he does so, he'll explain a little bit more of what he's going to have you do with him. We'll be journeying to Peelhearth. And then from there, my port of calling is Garen's Cross. The contract will be for my delivery to that city. However, I am happy to spend the week in Peelhearth, as you must do for the calling, with all of you. Kind of will continue walking down the road. The rate will be 100 gold pieces upon my delivery to Garen's Cross.
Sounds reasonable for fair trade and convenience to travel.
It works out. And of course I'll provide your room and board on the way there.
It's appreciated. I don't carry much on me.
Well, that will have to change. You're going to be an adventurer after all. And yeah.
Well, looks like it's already starting to. I'm like placing the writ in a safe spot and my bag and the cauldron on my back.
And yeah, as you do so, you make your way to the docks and onto a ship. And that ship begins to set sail. And that is where the prequel session will end.
All right.
So, thank you everyone for coming out to the prequel. If you want to stick around for a short little interview where we're going to ask some quick questions of our player and, their plans for the character and things like that, feel free to stick around. If not, don't forget to check out the League of Amazing Adventurers on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. CST, 7 p.m. PST, and the first session of this game, which will be happening at the same time, 9 p.m. CST, 7 p.m. PST on Friday night next week, which is the 19th. Now, into the questions. I think the first question I'm going to ask you is the one that I've shared with everyone else. What made you want to play a paladin for this game, and why don't you explain a little bit about your build for the audience?
Okay, well, as you know, I'm only a few years into playing D&D and I've played a few classes with reasonable, so I'm kind of making my way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get back into something a little more upfront and melee. And so Paladin kind of became the one that I locked in on.
Nice.
And that kind of builds in with the build as looking into how Paladins work, the smites, everything else, and then seeing how they work with natural weapons. Then looking into, okay, well, who has natural weapons and which ones are the most interesting? And ended up looking at the naga from one of the old Magic the Gathering and D&D PDFs and saw that they had two that are different from each other, rely on different saves, and both would work. So it just kind of fit into the original idea.
Yeah. This is the naga from the Amonkhet Plane Shift. Yes. It's available online. You guys can find it if you guys want to check it out. I think the next question is, what spots of the world does your character want to see?
Right. I have kind of one answer for him and one answer for me.
Oh, well, perfect. That was the next question is places you want to see. So let's go through both of them.
For him, even his goals and what he's looking for, the free cities of Volusia. So we're getting crazy day one, and yeah, he's of the places he's heard of. He's looking to the shadiest places.
Perhaps a return to Oblik for you then.
And then for me, based on the descriptions you've given, the desert cities and Half-Light Ebb sound interesting just to see how that area works and how that plays out, and the whole city staying in a constant state is something that has been interesting to me in other fiction that I've played or read.
Nice. Yeah, to give the audience a bit of a background of our relationship, immediately upon graduating college for myself, I joined a bit of a Facebook group for the Critical Role Show, where there's a number of people who wanted to create sort of like a campaign world for that. And Chad was in that game, and I believe that was your first D&D game.
Yes, it was my first D&D game. You were my first DM.
Hey. And I apologize for every single day of it. But
no, I love it.
In all seriousness, yeah. So since then, we've been playing together weekly. I think it's been like 3 years now, almost 4.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember specifically. It would take too long to scroll up in Discord to find out at the beginning.
It's been a really long time. But that's a little bit about like the sort of thing going into that. I guess here's a question for you. Does your character have any specific goals for their calling? And if they are attached to their backstory, do you want to share that a little bit with the viewers?
While he doesn't know what is going to be expected of the calling, being able to leave now is kind of an excuse for him. And as mentioned, getting a little bit of revenge on the Called Hunt, that is a sore spot for him. And seeking out the Called Hunt and making their day worse is certainly a motivation.
Fair enough. The Called Hunt audience is a group of heretical people who hunt people on their callings in order to deny the gods their worship. So they're quite the fun group to deal with, especially when you're on your calling, and they are definitely a threat the party might be facing in the future. But
he will not be shying away from that conflict.
Well, that's good. I think on that note, that's where we'll end tonight. So once again, thank you all so much for coming out. Don't forget to check out the League of Amazing Adventurers on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. CST, 7 p.m. PST. Don't forget to come back here next Friday for our session 0.5, where we're going to be going through basically the downtime of travel and having a number of scenes between all of the characters together to build up those relationships. And then last but not least, don't forget to follow if you haven't already followed. Like, comment, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And then, otherwise, we're going to do a raid to finish things off. We're going to raid a person called Super Dylan on Twitch here. They are a D&D 5e self-publishing person. They have created a setting for Neverland, D&D 5e. It's really great. I highly recommend their work. And they're a really cool person. So, let's give them a raid. And thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.